But the actual topic I wanted to talk about that was actually that I need help understanding. Which it probably might not go very far.
If you guys didn't see, we're fishing for Ethereum.
We're fishing for Ethereum?
Yes.
Are we now? Oh man.
Because this is where the nexus is.
Okay. Is this new resurgence? I guess you can call it a new resurgence. I don't know. I still can't believe that people think that the world's flat.
Oh.
And
I don't know. I have a feeling it's sort of like Scientology. I have a feeling it's like a Scientology thing. Where, like somebody fully understanding that this is bullshit made all of this stuff up in order to like fleece other people into it.
Okay. I can see that.
No, they just want to go back to the European times where they made scientific discoveries
based off of I make something up and then I find facts to support it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
there's so much anti-science right now that I wouldn't be surprised.
It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of crazy how much anti-science is out there.
There was a girl who it was in college. She was advocating to abolish science because it's sexist.
Hey, Isaac, how about a competition?
What?
Let's see who can catch the biggest fish. Don't be ridiculous.
Well, I'm not gonna say that it isn't. There are definitely a lot of scientists that.
But that's the human aspect.
Yeah, science society. We can argue science society can be sexist, but but you can't argue that that science itself.
It's like you can't argue that 1 + 1 = 2
is sexist.
No,
that's sexist.
That's not sexist.
The plus sign is a symbol of the patriarchy.
No, I take it back. Hold on. No, because like some people actually believe that like thinking of the world in that manner is sexist.
So thinking objectively and using facts to support your hypotheses to create a framework that is replicatable is sexist.
Yes.
I'm done with the world.
It's just like it doesn't take into account emotional intelligence.
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah. At least this is what I've gathered from all the things that I've seen.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because like I can't fathom this. This is beyond me. This is like beyond my intelligence. I can't.
Because like I can't elaborate on it because I think it's bullshit.
Okay. Well, did you want to add something to this?
Do you think you could lend some perspective onto it? Or do you also think it's bullshit?
Why?
Hey, we fished a box. We got some horns.
Yay! Yeah, do you think that the scientific method, the framework that is created by the scientific method is sexist?
People dumb as shit.
Okay, well, let's try to take this seriously then. Let's try our best. I mean, I know I'm asking a lot.
Well, we'll
Why
go
is
back
he wearing horns?
because we fished him out of the ground.
Why is he out of his costume that I gave him?
Because they had to default it because they loaded this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, going back, where do I want to go back to? Do we going back to the world is flat part, or are we going to the?
Well, I mean, there's not much to really talk about specifically about flat earthers and everything.
Well, let's see, because I don't actually know what their.
Oh, go for
I
it.
don't actually know what their stance is on it, because it's just like, are you kidding me?
Well, then I guess you didn't see that video that's been going around about how a guy took a fucking leveler, a spirit leveler, onto the airplane to prove that.
What? Wait, what's a spirit?
Like a construction leveler, you know what they use to kind of align.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
No. He fucking went. There's a YouTube video.
Oh my god!
He took the leveler and he filmed it, and he's just like,
Are you kidding
see,
me?
it's not moving. So
How serious is he?
He was very serious.
Are you certain that he's not just like a master troll?
I mean, he could. Okay, I mean that's with the internet. That's always a possibility.
God.
But Yes. He was very serious. Because he tried to explain it and everything. He was trying to explain that, if there was curvature, then the plane would have to constantly be dipping to match the curvature of the Earth.
No,
so then
because
that's why
the gravitational pull keeps you in a completely constant state. The fuck is wrong with you? You're always being pulled down, wherever down is. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Fuck.
That's impossible, man. The world is if it's round, again it curves, so the plane has to dip.
This sounds like.
Oh my god.
This sounds like when I had a great time, like during college when we were looking at creation and stuff.
Oh
It
yes.
feels just like it.
That's actually kind of the reason why I thought this would be.
It's just like
Holy shit. Oh no.
it's difficult. Oh yeah, so they're having a beef because
Because he keeps seeing her as, or she keeps seeing,
yeah, she keeps seeing him as her brother,
and he's
and
not.
he's just like, I'm not your brother.
But you are.
It's a big one.
Give it everything you got. I know what I'm doing.
The fuck is that?
This pot
It's
of infinite demons.
a big one, all right. But
What is it?
A pot. Yay. But what's a pot doing out here?
It's a portal to infinite demons.
Something
Yes.
inside it.
That's a
Oh
thing.
man, are we gonna have some tentacle rape?
Pick up your controller.
Oh fuck.
The portal of infinite demons.
An octopot?
Oh god.
Oh fuck, I'm off set. Okay, it's okay. Got it.
I wish they'd stop making those noises. Watch out. Their arms to the squeak. And they're shouting. Must you...
Lead him over here. I'll just.
Oh, we can just kill them.
They're weak to earth, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, they're not that much HP. Just beat on them.
We're a little over leveled. It looks like.
Nah,
Be more careful
that's
before
fine.
you approach a
There's
suspicious
infinite
object.
demons.
You think Laffy would have stayed back? That has nothing to do with this.
What is that?
hold on. There's something else inside.
A bigger octopus?
Infinite demons.
Oh, no.
Oh
that
man,
actually looks
zombies!
That looked kind of creepy, actually.
Yeah, infinite demons, man.
That's what the.
Oh god, I'm off set again.
For a bunch of dead guys, they're awfully fleshy.
Further support for the healthy octopus diet.
But anyways, flat earthers, science, people not believing in science.
Well, because this is like,
An octopus army. A
I
horde
want to
of undead.
see
What the
their
hell is this
rational
pot?
viewpoint and like understand how they came to that conclusion. But
Okay.
then it's frustrating because it's not a rational conclusion. It's a emotional conclusion.
Sealed pot?
Because if they really wanted hard facts about it, they
Uh-huh.
would and if they wanted hard facts and they were rational people, they would realize that that's not how it works because there's evidence, overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
But it was lost in the Second Warring States period.
Actually, let's discuss that. So, really, if they were actually,
Either that or they're just dumb and they believe these things. I think it's an emotional.
2 lectures in one day.
I feel like he's just trying to be anti-left. He's just trying to.
There could also be that.
Yeah, they
That's
just,
an emotional response.
that is a-
because the left is about science and knowledge and stuff, and we're supposed to be smart and whatnot. So let's.
But at the
let's
same,
agree. Let's not do anything that's smart. Let's be everything that's not smart.
but like, what about the whole thing about science is sexist? I mean, that sounds like a very left thing to say.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it's a right or left thing. I think it's a dumb versus smart thing. We're not smart, but like ignorant versus non-ignorant.
I don't know, man.
Oh god, I'm opposite.
They really want you to be opposite. You want to go pick up the block there, James?
Okay, where is it? Earth. Cool.
We're working against Earth.
Yeah,
But okay, elaborate a little bit more. Like, what do you mean by an emotional response? Like,
I think it's how people want things to be.
okay,
Or
okay.
they're going to start with that and then fill in the blanks with things that seem that appear to be reasonable explanations for your conclusion.
Okay.
Like the cold comet that caused the Ice Age. That makes sense, right?
The cold comet.
I mean,
Didn't you know the Ice Age started because the world was kind of warm, but then it got hit by a really large block of ice, which cooled the world.
Who came up with that? Who said that?
What I'm saying is like
Who said that?
I'm saying like if you're ignorant to the ways of like thermodynamics and like impact strength and heat and things like that, that makes sense. You add a big block of ice to make something cooler, right?
I guess. But then you would just deny that the whole thing happened in the first place.
Well, I mean, there was an ice age. How else was that supposed to come about?
You could say that it never happened.
but it did happen.
Yeah.
But the only way it could happen is if
It happened about 5,000 years ago, about 1,000 years after God created the world.
Okay.
In any case, the point I'm making is that people have a certain worldview, and they're tied to it. And
rather than changing their worldview,
changing their worldview in order to meet the facts,
they would rather
they would
change
rather find facts that
align with their worldview.
So
and maybe emotional response is the wrong way of saying it.
Well, no,
But
I think
because like if someone truly had that worldview, it's not emotional. That's how the world is.
okay, that's true.
You got a status helmet.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
Yeah, so do I.
Here, hold on. You just switch over to a different character, and then switch back.
All right, cool.
No, you did that wrong.
Did I?
Hold L1 and push left again. Yeah. And
Oh,
then
I see.
push left on the D-pad.
Oh, there we go.
Push
There.
down, and then push down again. Okay, now you have no status effect, and then now we can.
Kill me. God damn it!
Here. Oh, yeah. You can also switch over to someone and switch back, and I believe it restores some soldiers.
Okay. It does. I got one.
Yeah. So that'll give you enough fuel to start your combos to start getting more soldiers.
I probably need to do the same thing.
Okay. So use your D-pad.
Oh, never mind. I got one.
Yeah, but you also have a status effect. So
Oh my god! I got hit another time.
you also have a status effect. So just push the D-pad over twice. Right. And then now push. Yeah, and then push it again. Now you have no status effect, and you have one more soul gauge, and I'm going to heal you because,
Thank you.
But yeah, so that's something that you guys can use your boss gauge for aside from the cigars.
Yeah.
Wow, this is taking forever.
He was pretty tough.
Because he was armored. Oh wait,
Oh.
we got arts.
Yay.
Yeah.
Who?
Let's do it. But yeah, so it's like
Going to see it to behave itself.
Wait, Velvet! Don't eat it!
It's a pot. I'm not gonna eat it.
I guess there weren't any Therians to be found here after all. Yeah, if there'd have been any, you'd think Ol Eisen's Reaper curse would have drawn him out. Oh, so that's why all we caught today were weird, useless things.
Right. I forgot about the curse. So all this was Eisen's fault, huh?
Funny how quickly you get used to it. Oh, my power didn't end up helping us out at all.
Nope. But I know you're not the type to give up after a little setback. Isn't that right, Fee?
Huh? Fee?
It's your nickname. Not a whole lot of thought put into it, but... You're you. You're Fee.
Velvet. Fee. I like it. It has personality. Thanks.
Of course, if you still feel like giving up.
No, I'm gonna find us the next Earth Pulse point.
Is he ever gonna remember that he's her brother?
Oh, hey.
Is he her brother?
There's something else inside the
Is he not?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
I mean, I do know, but
Orichalcum?
is
It's
orgasm?
golden luster. It's orichalcum.
Yay!
Let's make a new sword.
This must be where that ship sank all those years ago. The one Kurogane told us about.
Kurogane.
Yeah, Kurogane might actually be able to make me an orichalcum sword.
Kurogane.
Nice find, Aizen. You too, Laphicet.
It wasn't easy, but we didn't come away empty-handed. And just getting a chance to fish again was lots of fun. Yeah.
Does she like
I
fishing?
had a really good
Apparently.
time too.
Oh yeah, that's right. She does.
Even I was entertained, especially your little costume show, kiddo.
Blush.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. People are crazy. They bring spirit levelers onto planes.
Is that a wait? Why do they call it a spirit leveler?
I have no idea why. I think I was thinking like Spirit might be the company name or
Maybe.
I,
It's just
Oh my god.
a tube with water in it. That
yep, with a
Oh,
little
so
bubble.
this is our base.
sort
For
of-
now.
Yeah, we've turned this into our home operation right now. Because apparently the Abbey kind of abandoned it for a bit.
Well, there's nothing here. Swimsuit, Laphicet.
Oh yeah,
I was looking at flat earthers, right?
yeah. You can see their logic, or lack thereof.
Please, no.
Well, what do you think, James? What is your whole thought on flat earthers, or for that matter, like creationists or anti-scientists, scientific theory?
Well,
I'll compare those
please
to
keep in mind that I am a creationist.
then
I'm a Christian,
That doesn't make you a creationist.
I guess.
Do you believe that the world was created in 6,000 years ago?
No.
Do you believe? Then you're not a creationist.
Okay.
Like, do you believe that dinosaurs and humans live together?
Really going all out, aren't
No.
You're not a creationist.
You're Christian, right?
You're a Christian. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you're a creationist.
Creationists are people who take the Bible literally.
Or try to, because they also cherry pick.
They try their very best to take it literally. Yeah. So they've created a framework that insists that the world was created just as the Bible
Depicted.
depicted.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why the Bible doesn't mention any dinosaurs.
But that's why it's kind of like a weird cherry picking thing because they can't deny the existence of dinosaurs.
That's like close
It's
to
not so much
impossible.
impossible because they denied a lot of other stuff that's supposed to be impossible.
That's true.
They don't deny dinosaurs because it's popular. If dinosaurs were like a footnote and no one gave a shit about dinosaurs, they would just say like, oh yeah, dinosaurs never existed.
I'm sorry. You don't have to cry.
At least that's how I see it.
Well, then I'm kind of wondering how dragons came to be.
Dragons. Dragons never existed.
I believe in dragons.
Now.
Well, I mean,
We're in Magilu's menagerie. How
through
intelligent than that?
Chinese, European, even African culture, they're like these large lizard creatures.
Yeah, but that could just be
Oh, that would be a sight indeed. But seriously, if you ever
what
want
is
some
it?
magic tricks up your sleeve, let me know and I'll teach you some.
Some of them fly, some of them don't.
Yeah, I forget what the term is. In evolution, several different species arrived to the conclusion of flight, but through different means. And I think coming to the idea of a large lizard,
But do you really think you can make a weapon?
like if you really look at Chinese dragons and European dragons, they're like completely different creatures.
Right.
Like at this point, it's not even appropriate to call them both dragons. They're dragons,
Well,
in their respective cultures. But
the correct fantasy terminology for a Chinese dragon is a worm.
No, I think it's the other way. No, they call like European dragons
I
worms.
I thought a worm was a like ancient dragon.
Isn't it a dragon that's just really long and large?
No, you would call like ones with wings
I
that look
think
like a dinosaur.
We're also
worms.
We're also mixing up different groups because like there's like fucking the D&D version and
Yeah.
there's the
Yeah.
Lord
Yeah.
of the Rings version and
Yep.
there's the whatever version. So, well, in any case, they're different creatures. We just call them dragons for maybe just like the translation. At some point, they just like someone was translating from Chinese to English and they were just like, oh, what's this thing? Oh, it's a dragon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think there's any talk of it in Egyptian or Roman culture, but it's definitely in Chinese culture and it's in European culture too.
Yeah. So
So I don't know. I mean, maybe there is. I have no idea. But fucking dragons, bro.
well, I mean,
That's something that I've always wondered. It's like, where did the legend of dragons even come from? And why do so many cultures have legends of dragons?
I mean, every culture has like fantastical creatures.
Oh, like a rock.
explain. Yeah, or fucking chupacabra.
Yeah.
Kappa.
Well, those are sheep eaters.
Yeah.
Those could easily be like wolves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
but then they like created this fantasy of this creature, or what was it? What's those things that you turn into if you're a cannibal?
Oh, Wendigos.
Yeah, Wendigos. Things like that. That was probably concocted to dissuade people from cannibalism.
Yeah.
But
Not a good idea.
Cannibalism?
Mm-hmm.
is it?
Well, I mean,
Lots of species benefit from cannibalism.
Yeah, but
Like the mantis.
don't humans actually like get physically?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. See, that's different. But no, but cannibalism. There are certain groups of people that are resistant to the
Oh, okay.
neuroviruses that it incurs because there has been cannibalism in their past.
Evolution.
So yeah, I mean, there's good reasons because fucking eating your own species leads to neurological diseases
Mm-hmm.
like mad cow disease.
Oh yeah.
That's when we started realizing we probably shouldn't be feeding cow parts to
Cows.
yeah.
I don't know how that wasn't brought up earlier,
Well,
but
I mean, like if you didn't know about those things, it's like
Yeah.
meat is meat. Just,
but cows don't even eat meat.
Actually, the cows are eating protein found in the brains of the
Yeah.
of the infected cows.
Yeah.
But honestly, that was just a a mutation of the protein that it had, and then it just continued to be remade and rebuilt and built up, and you couldn't get rid of it, or the cow had no idea, or the cow's body had no idea how to get rid of it, so it just kept making it and turning proteins into itself or into that form, and it would just keep making it, and it couldn't get rid of it or at all, and then it would just send them into crazy seizures and stuff. And that's
so it's basically like a brain cancer.
kind of except proteins.
Yeah.
We make proteins all the time. We synthesize proteins because of how our body works, but when they fold or mutate and stuff, that's what mad cow disease is.
Yep.
That's also how other neurological diseases kind of start, and why eating infected animals causes that, because then we start making that protein.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's the current reasons why cannibalism is bad. And there's the cultural ideas of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say ethical because I don't think it's unethical to engage in cannibalism. It's very much a product of its culture. Like, there was a culture that it was respectful to consume the corpse of your father to protect it and what is it? Retain their wisdom and things like that. Like you could see that as a very noble thing, in fact.
Well, what about like murdering people to consume them?
See, but then is the murder part the problem, or is the cannibalism part the problem, or is it in conjunction?
So what are we going to do?
Well, you're murdering people for the sake of
But it's punctured some major
consuming
holes on the
them.
deck.
Yeah, so does that taint the cannibalism somehow? Or is it just because we don't like murder either?
I don't know about all that. I'd say the prince is letting his newfound freedom get the better of him.
I mean, there's no doubt society doesn't like either of those things.
Yeah.
Our society doesn't like
Yes,
either of those
yes,
things.
yes.
I'm asking,
Elephant tuna this time.
people say that that's an inherently bad thing.
That's the
I
really big
disagree.
tuna that can
I think-
What, cannibalism is inherently bad or murder? Okay, okay.
I disagree. I think it's a culturally
Fish skills like elephant ears?
bad
I
thing.
saw it myself.
So murders
I-
culturally?
I want to say actually that I'm of the viewpoint that nothing is inherently good or bad.
Okay, well, okay.
And
Yeah.
I think that everything is deemed so based on the lens of our culture.
Everything I said. The Prince and Griffin can do
Like,
whatever they want.
fucking, if you were let's go far off now. Like, let's take a Klingon.
Okay.
He values war, violence,
Okay.
all those things. Murder isn't seen as as gross of an atrocity
Mhm.
to humans.
Okay. Okay, well, let's redefine our words then. What do we mean by murder?
Killing a man.
So just the act of killing a man. Okay.
Maliciously with intent.
No,
So,
that's
Murder?
That's different.
Well, I mean,
So
isn't that what murder is?
is it? Maybe.
so yeah,
So
yes.
That goes over into like manslaughter or self-defense, but those
Yeah.
are our like legal definitions of it.
Well, I mean, manslaughter is killing somebody. But
So
murder is.
So it's very much so that we have a problem with murder because of its intent rather than the loss of life.
pretty much.
I would say. So.
So it's like the calculation and the malice involved.
Yep.
Rather than the killing of a person.
Yeah, that's
Where
why
the
we.
fuck is Midgan?
That's why we
In Midgard.
always say that when someone has been killed, we usually use the word killed, or lost their
fair.
life. But when we talk about someone that's lost their life maliciously, we call it murder.
So I mean, this is all stemming off of the cannibalism part.
Mhm.
So.
And it's
We-
not.
so
Oh, go ahead.
many of us believe that murder is bad. Why?
Because it's taking someone's life without giving them a choice to live.
But then
Or
that has
you're
nothing,
deciding.
that has nothing to do with the malice or the calculation.
Well, in terms of murder, we're talking about doing so with premeditated intent.
Mm-hmm.
You were intending to take their life, and you were intending to do it for, I would guess, personal and malicious reasons.
So it's better if I accidentally kill a guy and eat him than if I
Whoops!
like no,
What?
not that. I'm saying like
I know.
what if I was driving and I accidentally hit a guy on the road and I was like, oh shit, well he's dead now.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm just imagining a really ridiculous situation where someone just accidentally fell on someone, like, oh, and then
Because,
accidentally consumed them.
Cause like oh shit, I hit this guy. Okay, I better make use of the body. I'm gonna eat him. Cause it'd be a waste of meat to just let him go to waste.
Mhm.
Versus if I sought out a person and like decided I'm gonna eat that guy.
Yeah,
So then I
that's
kill him.
premeditated.
Okay.
And then you actually acted on it, that would be murder.
So I'm trying not to talk about the murder part. I'm saying how does that relate to the other offense that we consider, which is cannibalism?
I think. Oh.
Well, that would be your intent.
Okay.
You have relegated this person to food. When they
Is
are,
it? What if I'm very respectful when I eat them?
but they're still food.
So
If that's the case, then you are taking away their value as an independent human being.
What if it was the
What if-
culture?
What if I'm eating them because I want to respect their body and I don't want it to rot away in the earth?
We hardly
How?
know the first thing about
I don't know, that's my
Culture.
belief. I believe that
Well-
the spirit continues within. I'm making
Are-
stuff up right now, but I'm saying
Are we talking about an actual culture that we are defending, or are we talking
Okay,
about
for
just
one-
in general? The
what I'm
act?
talking about right now is what I'm making up. But there is a culture that does consume the bodies of their family.
that's what
Okay.
causes trust in
Well,
Out of
I mean,
respect.
in that society, I can't really tell them otherwise. But I personally feel that
Can't argue that.
that does go against the idea of everyone has the freedom to live.
Well, I mean, it's not like they kill their family members to eat them. I'm saying when they pass of natural
they pass.
causes, then they consume the body.
Well, I mean, I feel like that would be disrespectful considering that it's
That's-
your conduit between that person and
That's what I'm arguing.
You, but-
is that our distaste of cannibalism.
controller.
That's what I'm arguing. Is that our distaste of cannibalism is a cultural thing, not a. How come laugh at it again? Okay, we gotta change that.
Yeah.
It's a guy. I think that our distaste of cannibalism is a cultural construct rather than an inherent construct. Like, it's not inherently. Cannibalism isn't inherently bad. We can back it up with science and say, like, oh yeah, it's a neurological thing. But we do a lot of things that cause diseases to ourselves that are culturally sound.
Like drinking alcohol.
Yeah. Or doing drugs. Or
Damn, this monkey.
whatever. Yeah, I mean that's just basically my point. I was trying to like make the point. Anyways, oh, and also, can I take a look at my art?
Sure.
Oh, can't a witch
One,
know
one
what's
second.
around
I need to. I want to help. That's better, right, James?
no, it's not. In case, I'm gonna take a quick break for a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see what I got. Strike drive.
Just send me the auto.
Okay.
How do you feel?
So we have to like constantly like peel back layers for this conversation for me.
Well, let's start at the base, I guess.
So like for me personally, it's a harder thing to
You
kind
got
of.
Rising Falcon
Oh, cool.
and Heaven's Wrath
Oh shit. Anything else?
and Cerberus Wave.
Oh shit. I should use all of them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rising Falcon does what? Like a raptor.
You jump up and you do
Kick down.
yeah. An air kick. A drop kick. Of sorts.
I'm gonna do this. Rising Moon into Rising Falcon. And what was the other one I got?
Right below Rising Falcon. So
Heaven's Wrath. Multiple
Yeah,
angles.
that's a good finisher. Actually, no. I usually put it on stage 3 because I usually use like a mobility thing at the end to leave the premises. But that's up to you.
We'll see. We'll try this out. And the last one was
Cerberus Wave. It's at the very bottom. It basically creates a flame tornado in front of you.
alright, cool. So, from a personal standpoint, it's kind of hard for me to agree with it, and you know that is basically stating that culturally that's how I've grown and understand the world. So it's very hard to think of cannibalism as being ever a good thing. But I understand that it is a cultural thing and that it's going to be it's just hard to disassociate myself from that. But again, I understand that that's just me. If we're going to take the conversation to the point of, you know, what is truly good, what is truly evil, and whether, you know, those things actually exist at all or not. That's another hard conversation, especially I think especially just for my mindset currently, because I recently started looking up like the alignment system in D&D. So I've kind of like put myself in the mindset of like which alignment I am, and realizing that I truly am neutral good. I am not chaotic good. Because chaotic good is a little too selfish. I noticed.
Chaotic good is. There's a lot of problems with the D&D alignment system.
Yes.
It doesn't leave as much room for nuance.
That's true. But from what I learned about it, apparently chaotic good people are people who do anything for good.
Well, yeah, they're like white hat hackers.
Pretty much.
Like, hey, HP, I just broke into your system. Here is the list of vulnerabilities you have. I left this box of chocolates for you. So beware.
Exactly.
They're just like, what?
But with that being said, yeah, it's a hard conversation because when I was listening to you talk about it, like I felt a very somewhat visceral reaction in my gut about the idea of eating people and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's why I was talking about it, because I know that it's like so abhorrent in our culture.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a very hard thing to accept, but I know logically, logically that like it is something that I would have to consider, that there are some people who, one, from a scientific standpoint, who actually can consume other human beings. And
if you want to like take it back to something like a little more digestible, how do you feel about eating dogs?
See, I'm against that.
Yeah, but then like, is that as bad as eating a human?
I hate to say it, but I would have to say no, it is not. And this goes in. We're gonna go into a very personal space of mine, because I'm constantly, trying to be a good person and do things for the so-and-so greater good that I believe in. Even though I know I can logically understand that there is a possibility that there is no greater good, but
it's sort of like, I believe the greater good is what we make it to be. And it's not like there's a divine purpose and direction in life.
Yeah, and that's actually where I would stand if the conversation were to come down to it, like, because because I don't believe in a higher power, but I also don't necessarily disagree that there's a possibility for one.
I mean, we haven't disproved it.
Exactly, and it's impossible to
difficult to disprove that sort of shit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible.
Okay, how about this? It's impossible currently, as
it's currently not feasible for us to disprove the existence of a deity.
Yes. What is that argument called exactly, where you can't disprove something?
I know what you're talking about, but it's sort of like, I want to believe that there's a giant spaghetti monster in the world.
Is that?
It's like, who are you to say that there's not a giant spaghetti monster?
Yeah, exactly. That whole argument.
It's like the burden of proof lies in
the person who presents the argument, right?
Yeah, it's burden of proof lies in proving something, not disproving something.
Okay. Yes. But yeah, so
where we going?
I don't no idea.
We're going to begin. Okay, so
no, we have to go across the plains to get to the capital.
So we have to go to Logris, and then instead of going to the castle, we make a left into. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So it's a really difficult thing, because I want to both be logical and scientific about the idea, and when presenting the facts, I want to be able to accept that, but at the same time, I want to believe in a greater good for whatever the greater good is, and my understanding of what it means to be good means to not accept cannibalism and murder, so they conflict with each other. So
well, that's the thing, is like, in what aspect of cannibalism are you thinking of? Because I'm sure when people think of cannibalism, they usually think of someone
Like
fucking
Cannibal Lecter?
cannibal,
Yeah.
like preying on people, and it's like a situation of the hunter and the huntee.
Yeah, and
like it's not even like respectful. Well, it's sort of respectful because he has like a certain class to it.
it's
But
which is
then
really
at
weird.
The same time, it's sort of like deranged and disturbing.
Yeah, exactly,
But
exactly.
when I talk about cannibalism, I'm not talking like that specific. I'm just talking about the consumption of human flesh.
Yeah, and if we're gonna break it down to that, though I personally cannot agree with it, and I would personally in a lot of ways, I guess I would have to say that I would be a lot like your father when it comes, or your family when it comes to like homosexuality, or having Japanese married into the family. Like I would prefer to not be within my immediate circle. But if it's something that is within reason, and is not abhorrent, then I think I could be acceptable of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that kind of calls into question the whole. We pride ourselves as a generation of being so accepting of everything now. But so did our parents.
Yeah.
And now they're in a position where we're doing things that they don't agree with. If one day our children started taking up to like
Cannibalism?
communal respectful cannibalism, we would just be like, oh no, do not do that here. But then they're like, dude, you're so old fashioned.
And
And then that could totally happen.
Yeah.
It's just like we're doing this because our friend died in a car accident. We're trying to
keep his memories with us.
yeah, or something. I don't forget. Like, but yeah, so they make something like that. And if they truly believe that, is it appropriate for us to just be like, no, you're fucking wrong?
And that's a really difficult question, and that's a very real question that can very much happen. And I honestly, I have no idea what I would say.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I would just be like, fucking don't eat people.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Exactly. Oh jeez. Okay, give me a second.
Yeah, I just noticed like freaking Rokuro was off on the side. Wow, he's dead.
Yeah, he is.
What happened? Oh, that's what happened.
One more. So is wow.
Fucking, yeah.
Looks like you're gonna have to do it all by yourself.
It's okay. You have enough blast gauge to just continuously do this shit. So just you better go right back into it.
Yeah.
Velvet can do it.
If anyone can do it, Velvet can do it.
Velvet can do it.
Wow,
Yeah, there you go.
this is
Just
so
keep it up.
dumb.
Just keep doing it. Go back in. Yes. Keep the chain.
Oh no, she
You
missed.
broke
She
the
missed.
chain.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow, it was so dumb.
Yeah, we lost. Oh, we think we need to sell shit. We're not picking anything up.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we'll do that.
Probably just go to it. We need to stock up on items. Anyways.
Oh, we got all 3 wins.
Yay! Let's go do that. Everyone healed. Cool.
Yeah.
Can I just?
Yeah. Just
What is-
like Logris.
There goes. Okay.
Um.
So yeah, no, and I mean, and that's actually that is a question I definitely have brought up to myself, and definitely not to the level of cannibalism, which that could be a distinct possibility.
You could frame cannibalism in a benign light.
Yeah, no, you can.
Like if there's
You
a person
do.
that's already dead and he has no family.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we need to do fucking human farming because human meat is so delicious or anything like that. But like, what is it about eating a person that's so bad?
At this point, the only argument I could possibly give you is that from our cultural understanding, it's disrespectful.
It's immoral.
Yeah.
It's immoral. There's something about, actually, it's about as similar as, why is it so difficult for some people to become organ donors?
Yeah. A lot of people believe that the human body should stay with itself into the afterlife.
Exactly. And I'll admit, like,
No, wait, hold on. You want to sell stuff?
oh yeah.
Get talking.
Yeah, I was amongst that. I had the belief that
So much stuff.
Okay.
oh Jesus.
I'm just gonna sell like
Yeah, go for
all
it.
of it.
Go for it. Go for it. I had a feeling that, like, you know, of adherence or of adversity to wanting to give up my organs. I felt like when I die, I would like to be in one piece, assuming that I don't, like, you know, explode.
Oh, wait, I forgot. There's a better way to do this. You can go and mark all the ones you want to keep and sell all.
Oh, cool.
So let's see. How do I do this? Here we go. Okay. Continue.
So yeah, you know, like it took me a while to come to terms with, like, I'm gonna be dead, so it doesn't really fucking matter. Go ahead and if my organs still work and it can save someone's fucking life, then go ahead and take my organs. But there was a time when I just felt like that just didn't sit right with me for some reason, and I think I want to kind of move the conversation away from specifically cannibalism and everything, but just the idea of us having to deal with the next generation and whatever crazy bullshit that they come up with, and
Whatever fucking wrong ideas they have.
because I mean, I jokingly say it like that, but, like, to us it may seem that way.
It's going to seem that way, and I guarantee you, our first visceral reaction is that's wrong.
Yeah.
But is it really?
Exactly, and that's the question at hand. Is like, well, what really is truly wrong? What is truly right?
Yeah, and that's why I was making the argument in the first place. It's just like, because it's based off of our current values, and if our values are so immutable that we can't accept new things, then we're just stubborn old traditional people that have no place in this world anymore.
Yeah. But at the same time, like,
It's like
we should still, you know.
Well, it's not to say that we should fucking bend like the grass. Like, okay, whatever. Yeah, if you want to fucking let's go full incest and all those things. Like, yeah, we want to stand for what we want to stand, but from a very, like, real position. And
Exactly.
understand why we feel those ways. And can we make room for this new idea?
And I think, and that's where, and, you know, I think that's really where it comes down to, which is really what a lot of our conversations today has been about, in that we just need to be open to conversation and be able to converse with whoever it is that we're having a problem with.
We have to understand why people feel the way they do, understand their motives.
Exactly.
Not shut them down at face value.
Exactly. And that's really the best we can do, especially when it comes to our own children. I mean, the next generation is just, we have to be able to be open to listening to them, but also be stern enough to be like, in certain times, in certain situations, be just like, no, that you're an idiot. But also being open to the fact that, like, maybe we are being just too traditionalist, and being okay with them doing something that we ourselves we'll never be able to truly accept. But being open to it being there anyways. Because, like, I think I saw something talking about, like, the different stages in life, and I remember I saw it's like after 25, people actually are more adverse to change.
Oh, absolutely.
We become more stuck in our ways, and I thought that was really interesting.
There's a physiological reason for that too. It's just like, as we go on, we've created these strong connections in our brains, and to break those down, it's more and more and more effort.
Yeah.
It's just harder to accept something new, and it unfortunately often boils down to that's just how we've always done it, which isn't a good enough reason.
No. But I mean, I would like to think that I can at least try to be open enough to accept new ideas.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can really do. Try your best to do it.
Yep.
We would, if we all just fell prey to what was it, like, convenience, then yeah. How you feeling, James?
Just a bit tired. Or how are we doing on time?
It's 1 o'clock right now.
Okay, how long do you want to go for today?
Depends if we want to go eat later or not.
I probably should put something on my stomach before I go to work.
Okay, so what do you want to do? You actually want to call it now, or do you want to go on for another 30 minutes?
Well, I can. No, it's up to.
Because actually, I mean, we are in a pretty good place to stop.
This is a pretty decent place to stop, especially since we're just gonna be doing fucking menus for the next episode.
Yeah. So we might as well just. Well, then let's do this. Let's kind of just converse while we're doing the menu stuff, and then finish up our topics and everything, and then we'll call it.
Okay.
So yeah, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this current topic? Do you need a review? So basically, so you remember the original conversation about cannibalism,
right?
But what it actually led into is that what if? Well, let me ask you this first before we go into that. Do you think there is ever a point in where cannibalism can be explained to you and it being acceptable?
No.
Ever?
I mean, I can't say never. I never say never. But I would find it really difficult for me to say that, unless that person died like a really long time ago and their body is no longer usable for organ donation,
at that point, would it even be edible though?
I don't think there are much better uses for a corpse than there is for food.
Okay.
I don't see a reason. It's more that person's choice, and if I'm willing to make light of their choice, and I have the right to, and I think that is a bad choice.
Yeah. So, what if, and just for argument's sake, what if the person that died, made it very clear that they wanted to be eaten?
I would say that would be really weird, and can I have the rest of their organs before he eats them?
For argument's sake, no. They want everything to be consumed by whoever, and that person accepts.
Okay, I mean, if you want to be turned into a giant pile of shit, then okay, but I don't think that's a great idea.
Okay.
We're all shit in the end.
I mean, yeah, we will eventually turn into that.
You would have to be eaten and digested to be a giant pile of shit.
We all eventually decompose into something, and we all eventually become food. Eventually.
But anyways, so
there are at least 5 Hitler atoms in you right now.
Is there?
It's just like it's statistically probable that some of the carbon atoms that had interacted with his body at one point have made their way over to us. That's what I'm
Quantum physics. But anyways, so that conversation led into more or less the idea that the next generation is going to come up with some sort of new idea that's going to be just fundamentally outside of our acceptability, our generation's acceptability. And for now, because cannibalism is so out there to us anyways, we were just using it as an example. What if the next generation decides that they believe that cannibalism was okay? But not using that example particularly, we'll just assume that it's something that just feels very, just to us feels very, very wrong.
Yeah, no.
What are your thoughts on the next generation just having, how do you think?
I mean, I don't take for example what our older generation, our ancestors believed was okay, what was not okay. Like, for example, they decided that homosexuality wasn't okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided that for a really long time. And now we are starting to make, not only it okay, but also for it to be a legal union between two different people.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people from the older generation that disagree, and that's totally understandable. I can see that,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes sense because what you're doing is providing them the right to do you're providing the right to other people to be human or to be seen as human.
Is it?
Well, yes, in a sense that you are giving them the ability to say what they're doing is okay. It's either societally acceptable or it's normal. And the fact that for the longest time, not only was it not normal, it was something that was punishable by death.
It still is.
Yeah, in many parts of the world, yeah, it's still punishable by death. It's a very scary and just unfathomable thing to have to endure.
Mm-hmm.
And people have to do that every day. They have to hide who they are every day. And as a society, for a long time, we said that was not. We said that it's okay for them to be ostracized, treated poorly, to be killed, and abused.
Okay.
And for now, we haven't. Now, I feel that change was. It's impossible to avoid. If we start moving towards a society that values life, and rather than, the weak versus the strong, then, yeah, you're going to value all walks of life, even people who were born that like the same sex as themselves.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think we all agree on this, but
Yeah.
how does that add to the?
Well, if in the future we come up to some other thing where it's very similar, I don't know, maybe we abolish all racism. I'd love that.
Well, I mean, the common popular direction is like, well, if we allow marriage between two people, why can't we allow marriage between three people?
Or a dog.
Or an animal.
Right,
Or
the
my
slippery
pillow.
slope thing, right?
Yes.
But that's
well, I'm not even talking from a slippery slope standpoint. I'm saying, like, what is so wrong about those other things?
what's wrong about those other things?
Like, what's wrong with marrying three people being like polygamy? What's wrong with polygamy?
What's wrong with polygamy? At least the way that it's being used in Mormon churches or Mormon communities, and also in other countries, women are seen as less than seen as property.
Okay, well that's a problem in and of itself because it hurts the equality standpoint. But
Assuming
all three people were seen as equal, is there any problem with polygamy?
Morally, or if we'd have to take morals out of it because then we would be changing morals. But in that way, no, there wouldn't be. And I've thought about that before. It's just that it never really shakes out really well.
but
That's not our
same,
decision.
same thing with marriage. A lot of marriages don't shake out
Right.
well.
That's true, and that's perfectly fine. I would say that I can't be against it, and I don't see much of a reason to be against it, other than the fact that it then creates a really weird tax code thing. But that's a really
that's a legal problem.
yeah, it's a legal
actually that's more of an
problem.
administrative problem.
Yeah.
So that's different. We're talking more of like a moral standpoint.
Well,
Because
then, but
Or just
like,
you
how-
can't
soc-
really
a
talk about-
societal
like our very basis of the
conversation.
discussion was how do
Is that Kush?
Yes.
it is.
Good eye.
The very basis is like how will we approach moral
Ambiguity, problems, issues.
moral conflicts
Yeah.
when they're presented to us.
By the next generation.
Yeah.
Especially when
I'm certain the next generation will have different views on what is morally sound.
No, definitely will. I mean, they'll probably change the way that marriage looks because marriage should be an evolving form. I don't think that. I mean, it's a possibility that.
Like, is there anything that you think should be immutable? Like something is just how it is.
What's with this?
I mean, interspecies marriage between humans and non-humans. I don't think that works really well. But I mean, there's always a possibility that there are aliens and whatnot that come in the next 30, 40 years. So there could be interspecies population. There's a possibility that it'll work. I don't know. I would probably be okay with that, but I just find it a little weird. And my kids probably wouldn't.
unless the aliens were hot.
Or maybe they're not hot, or maybe they
I know.
love people and they
No,
rape them. I
that's
don't
actually
know.
that's actually a higher likelihood. Or actually, no. I have no idea. They could look exactly like us.
Maybe
Could, and we would still treat them like aliens.
Or-
in the
maybe a
movies.
million years ago, some of us got abducted, and then they went over and they created a new species of human on a different planet.
Yeah, yeah. Or have you seen Asobi ni Ikiyo? It's basically like they tackle this whole idea of like aliens and everything, but the aliens are just basically cat girls.
Of course.
And it's just great because like all the like people who are like waiting for aliens are like, no, they can't be cat girls. They have to be like aliens.
They have to look like this, like tentacles. And shit.
I just thought that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Aliens.
Yeah, I mean, it just.
I mean, I think at this present time, it would be hard for me to figure out something I would be against other than maybe like bestiality. But I think
Well, that's why I was using like
Cannibalism.
things that are like very clearly not okay right now.
Well, they're very clearly not okay for a lot of different reasons, not just morality.
Yeah, but we're just trying to use it as an example.
Well, a lot of people justify it
I mean-
for its.
Moral reasons.
They justify its problems with the hard facts, but then they only really talk about its morality issues.
Well, if we talk about hard facts, let's take, for example, and I might not be as well informed, but let's take AIDS. AIDS is generally found within the bodies of other animals. Right? I think it was first, or
Like monkeys or something.
yeah, monkeys, right?
Yeah, and that's where that whole stupid rumor came about.
That for some reason we contracted AIDS.
Some guy got bored and did it with a monkey,
Or something.
something like that, and then
Probably.
he brought it back, and then he.
I mean, that's highly possibility because that's the same way that mad cow disease works.
Yeah.
There's a protein in another body that that doesn't decompose, that you then consume, and you now contract that disease.
And if we kept it as an individual, that would have been great. But they actually used it. They were trying to use it saying that it was because of homosexuals. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why that.
AIDS became a homosexual thing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, it's not like that. But the fact is, if it did not originate in humans and it originated from other animals, and there are a lot of other bacteria and other things where if you share fluids with an animal, you could possibly gain something that they're immune to that you're not.
Cough. The Americas. Cough.
The Americas?
Yeah, when the Europeans came over to America, they brought with them a whole bunch of diseases, and that's part of.
Oh, right.
Gave him disease blankets.
Yeah.
They also did it intentionally.
Right.
But they I mean, like at first they did it unintentionally. They brought with them a lot of diseases that they were immune
The
to.
biological warfare has always been a thing.
Yeah.
But the fact... Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
No.
no, you can.
Just that the fact is, animals have a lot of diseases that we're not immune to. So by having sex with an animal, you open yourself up to having or contracting a disease that the animal then has.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if AIDS is a good example of that, but there's always other examples. Is like cholera, for example. I think there are like thousands of bacteria in the mouth of a dog that it's immune to. And also the digestive tract of many other animals is much stronger than ours.
Yep.
Which means that there are bacteria all throughout its body that it's able to get through or to survive
Consume.
and consume that we're not.
Yep.
So that's because they're a completely different species. They have a different anatomy than we do.
Yeah. So, but like, what's your ultimate point?
Ultimate point is you probably shouldn't have sex with them.
Okay. Well. Okay. The problem here is that we're focusing a little too much on very specific facts. We're trying to talk about the grander idea of just will you be? Because I can
whip it around. I'll whip it around.
Okay.
the thing is, I'm thinking that the new generation won't come up with something that's as reasonable as people who are homosexual should have the right to marry.
Well, I mean,
That
it's not just like every new generation comes up with a new thing. It's probably ongoing. So like, let's take something that's a little less understood and accepted is transgender.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, there's plenty of advocates for transgender people now, but it's not as far along as homosexuality.
Right. Being able to choose what gender you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. But that's around choice. And I feel that while that is a slippery slope as we're talking about younger and younger people, I mean, right now it's completely unlikely that a parent would say it's okay for their 3 or 4 year old child to go through, gene therapy to
Yeah, but
convert.
it's sort of like,
in the future maybe it will be. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that it would be within reason. There would be reasonable arguments. There would be something to support that this is okay.
So,
but
And I feel that at the moment, when we come up to the homosexual marriage issue, there are reasonable arguments that people are ignoring because it goes against their moral thought process rather than trying to adapt to their moral process.
So are you saying that whatever the next generation may bring, that it's not going to be so radical that it's going to be so viscerally difficult for us to be able to accept?
Yeah, unless we're so grounded in our ways that we don't consider change.
Okay.
But I mean, life for the people who have been for hundreds of years chosen that this is the way that life is supposed to be. They weren't expecting life to change as radically as it is now. Like, life is on a complete fast track.
Okay.
And
yeah,
it could
there
more
has
likely-
been an explosion in change, but
I think it could get faster.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's kind of the point, though, is that it might happen so quickly that it'll go beyond our ability to accept it. And I think that's what we're trying to talk about, is that...
Right.
Like, at what point will society change so much that we can't morally keep up with it?
Well, maybe even cybernetic implants.
Oh yeah. How do you feel about transhumanism?
I don't know if I really like that. I wouldn't stop someone from doing it, but I probably wouldn't support someone I love doing it.
I'm so on the fence about that.
Transhumanism?
Is that what it is? I didn't realize that there's
Transhumanism is the idea that we can transcend our biological bodies.
Okay. I see that.
Immortality through that way just sounds really...
like
But-
uploading our brain to a server.
Mhm.
How would you feel about that?
Okay. So that's a difficult thing. Like,
Like, it's one thing to say like, oh, I gotta have cybernetic arm. Or
Yeah.
something, But
Yeah.
what if like I
Well,
was
cyber brain.
What if I was to replace 98%
the
of my body?
purifiers. I just finished Legacy of the Void.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. It's like, what if I put my brain inside a robot?
Mhm. It's
You could still argue that, oh yeah, it's still a human because it's a human brain.
Mhm.
But if I just like decoded the entirety of my brain into a server and it's like on a fucking SSD.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's so beyond me that I don't know.
But that's where things would start getting. That's where people were. That's the position people were. Well, no, it's not quite, because gays have always been around, but it's always been like
Shunned.
seen. It's been shunned and seen as a minority. It's seen as like an abnormality.
Yeah.
It's not like something. It's almost like if I were to get a rare disease, rather than this is what he chose or
So
whatever.
is the question that after this person has put their consciousness into an SSD and now is in a fully robotic body, let's just say an android or something, do we treat them as a real
do we
person?
treat them as a human, or do we treat them as a machine, or what are they at that
Okay.
And at what point
And
do we
how-
stop
and,
treating
and what if your child wanted to do it?
I see.
Like it's one thing to be like, okay, I'm okay with people doing that, but then it's like, am I okay with my family doing it? Am I okay with me doing it?
So for
That's a lot of lines that people draw.
Yeah,
nowadays. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, I'm fine with gay people just as long as my kid isn't gay.
yeah, which in and of itself. Well, yeah. So yeah, okay. That's a great example for our current conversation, actually.
Yeah.
Did you want to go into it, or do you want to save it for next time?
Damn it, you guys suck. 'Cause I do want to go into it.
We can go into it.
Yeah.
We can, because transhumanism is a very broad topic.
No, it is. It is. Very quickly, I would have to discuss it about it. I would talk about it. Like I can't. I'm not. I have a belief that what you have should be treasured, and just the idea of like living with what you have. Because that's a life lesson that you should have anyways, is that you can't have everything. There's going to be things that you're going to constantly be yearning for, but you can never have. So one of the things is just like, for example, I'm very curious about the experience of being a woman, like what that's like, but I am completely comfortable with being a man.
Yeah, I agree too.
That's the only concept that I have, but that's just my perspective on it and how I feel about everything, because I am comfortable with being a man. If I wasn't comfortable with being a man, then that might change my entire perspective on it. So I don't know. So if my child were to come to me and say that, like, I don't feel comfortable being a human being, I don't feel comfortable being in this flesh and body, or whatever, I don't feel comfortable being in this flesh and body, I want to be in a robot. What it would come down to is just discussing with them, and God damn it, we came back to this exact
same thing. If you want to get closer to it, lots of people don't feel comfortable being human. Like, they associate themselves with like certain animals.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, and
that was
they might
so
go
hard to watch.
They might go into gene splicing, like in Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
It's just like,
where
are the lines?
Yeah, but then that's actually something that we talked about before, and how it's like your belief that humanity is a transitional species, that we're just in the middle of transitioning. But I mean, maybe we will forever be transitioning to something else.
I think
for
that's
all of
just the nature of life, is that life is always changing.
The Zerg evolve.
Yeah, it's not about this is what it is and this will be what it is forever, because that's not how the world works. Like, you can see certain aspects of the universe that are immutable, but
I just realized something. Oh, sorry. Finish what you're saying.
It's just like 1 + 1 = 2. Light refracts at a certain angle. Those are like facts. But then what we are and what we see ourselves as can and will change, and has to change. Otherwise, we won't be able to keep up with the world and the universe.
Yeah, but like, and then that brings up a completely different conversation, I think, where it's that want to be at a point where, and I guess that it might just be something as simple as pride, being prideful that we are at this pinnacle where we have reached at least in some aspect, a point where we do have immutable aspects of us, like something, for example, like the human soul. People want to believe that the human soul is eternal because they want to have something that is.
People want consistency in life, and that's why, like, in games, it's so common for us to have like
touchpad.
It's like meta progression and things like that, because I play this game, let's say Call of Duty. I've been playing Call of Duty for the longest time. Shooters were just like GoldenEye. You go into a round, you play the match, winner, done. But then now you have games like Call of Duty where you have like prestige and progression and things like that. People like the idea that outside of this current match, there's something that I'm
that's growing
and stable.
Yeah. But
I think that speaks heavily to the human need for consistency.
And yeah, I mean that could just be a weakness in my own perception of the universe, that I would like to think that there's something that is consistent, but
it's not necessarily a weakness or a strength. It is.
Yeah,
and that's who you are, and
exactly.
And it's up to you to decide whether or not that's how you're going to proceed.
Yep. But yeah, so long story short,
You're on the fence about robot.
Yeah, because like it's because the biggest thing for me actually is that question of, is that person human or not?
Yeah, are they even human anymore?
Exactly, and then the question of like the whole the quilt analogy. You know, when you keep unpatching a quilt, is it the same quilt anymore after you patched all of it? It's like it's that idea, like, you know, what makes us us, and then but does it even matter to be human anymore? Like, you know, is being human even that great? Is transcending actually the better thing? Is becoming a robot the next stage of life that's better? I don't know. And I think that's really the question for me, is that I like to believe that there's something good about being human, and that there are aspects of it that we don't fully understand yet, and we shouldn't be so quick to cut it away. And yeah, those are my final thoughts. That's thoughts for you guys.
You're gonna have to find out next week.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversations for today. We are back. Are we back next week?
Next week, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, we should be back next week. Hopefully, we'll find out on Twitter and stuff. Follow us, #Philosophical Saturdays. Once again, if you guys want us to talk about specific stuff, go ahead and tweet us with that hashtag. Again, Reiki Keto, Automatic Draft, Tenouraku, and we will see you guys next week. Love you all. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.